To be clear, we are systems change advocates. We're taking this idea of the groundwater approach. And just to give you an example of what the groundwater approach is, you see half the fish are dead in a lake, and you say, what's going on with this lake? We need to investigate this lake, figure out what's going on. You see half the fish are dead in all of the lakes in Minnesota, and you say, what's going on with this groundwater? We are an organization that's focused on the groundwater, the systemic problems and approaches within education.
There's a big difference of working for and working with. And so what we at Allies work really hard to do is make sure that we're centering student voice.
Students need to be at the center of everything that we do, especially students who have been historically underserved, undervalued, underappreciated. Those are our students of color, our Native American students, our students with disabilities.
It's not so much that we are deciding what's in the best interest of students for them, we want to do that in partnership.
My son was suspended by Bloomington Public Schools. He has autism. He doesn't understand suspension. He didn't understand it then.
Our youngest learners are being disproportionately pushed out of classrooms and not learning from those mistakes, but rather when the focus is on punishment, it really can be harmful to those early years in particular.
Students with disabilities are suspended and expelled at 50%. So 50% of all suspensions and expulsions are for kids with disabilities, and they only make up 15% of our student populations.
Education is your sight. It's how you see the world, it's how you know the world, it's how you view the world, it's how the world views you. And if children are being kicked out of their education in their classrooms, how can you possibly become a productive adult? How can you possibly become a productive adult?
So, want to see big changes, suspension and expulsion ban for our youngest learners to make sure that they're in the classroom learning early on and making sure that they're learning from behavior mistakes that are a pretty normal part of growing up.
We know that teachers are the #1 in-school factor for our students' prosperity and achievement. So we need high-quality, effective, diverse educators in the classroom.
I love the ability to make relationships with students. It's not always an easy process, especially with the students I work with. Part of the reason I connected with Allies in the first place was because the Minnesota legislature was trying to change the way the licensure pathways worked for people getting alternative licenses. At Allies was amazing, and they connected me with legislators, and I got to speak in front of committees. It was so great to be able to tell my story and be able to hopefully help other people in my position continue to have the opportunity and options to becoming a teacher.
Go to a Vikings game, you can fill up that entire stadium with every single teacher in the state. The number of teachers of color would fit in a couple of sections at US Bank Stadium. And that's a policy choice that has roots in systemic inequities and decision-making that makes it more difficult for people of color to enter and stay and grow in the teaching profession. And it made me want to work on changing and shifting the policy context and landscape within which people move into or move out of classrooms.
I've never felt like I've had someone in my corner like I've had at Allies. Like, they've always just been there. If I didn't have Ed Allies, I don't know that I would be a teacher today. They would have passed the law changing the licensure process, and I would be looking for something else to do.
Someone asked me the other day, why is education important? And it was kind of a weird question. It was almost like they were saying, why is oxygen important? But it really had me sit back and think, like, what is it about education that's so important? And education really is, it's a resource. We build things, we develop things, we export things. Our people in this country are our greatest resource. And the way that they can produce and innovate and think is crucial to the survival of who we are.